Dad, can you see my screen?
I see your screen, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So we've got a
You
few
got that
people.
picture of me dripping wet out there in 100-degree heat pulling soil samples.
Yeah, you're out at the farm doing soil samples.
Yeah. I
Now,
was
Dad,
actually out there that day with our grandchildren. We was showing them how to start with the dirt.
now I know that we have some by phone, Dad. So there are people who are calling in. So you need to be aware that there are some that can see our screen, but others that are following along by phone. So
Yes.
we kind of have to play in both worlds of visual and audio. But I want to remind you, Dad, I actually did this deck more so for you than anybody. There are 3 things that we want to talk in addition to some of the slides. And one is what is new in the agriculture industry. 2 is what are some things that I should be doing right now to ensure my success. And number 3, what type of sod is your favorite? And now I want to tell you, Dad, this first round today. This one is the professionals. So these guys on the phone are your landscaper pros. Okay. Your one at 2 o'clock is going to be all the homeowners talking about how high to mow the grass and so forth. So these are landscape professionals. So make sure you keep things in a correlative manner for them. But all right, let's kick this off. I'll take over for the beginning a little bit, Dad, just to kind of do an introduction, and then I'll kind of let you take over. And then we're actually going to do an open forum so that the landscapers, this webinar is really for them to ask you questions. So we'll open this up and kind of do a forum also. So just to kind of give you a picture right here, Dad is on the left and I'm on the right. And Dad, so that everybody knows, he is the CEO of Woerner Farms, and his family has been farming for over 100 years. With generations of farming expertise, George Woerner has grown Woerner Farms to be one of the nation's leading sod farm producers. And then on the right, I'm the CEO of Soil Kit by Agritech Corp. I'm a 5th generation farmer, and my job now is to address the problem that over 70% are dissatisfied with their lawn or garden. And I believe it starts with healthy soil. So Dad is Woerner Farms, Woerner Landscape, and I'm Agritech. Dad does the growing, and I am overseeing all the healthy soil. And there we are behind our house in Alberta, Alabama, picking some strawberries. Here is Dad. He's in the centipede field right here. It's 1980 something, Dad. And you're sitting under the irrigation. And there's just a quote from you basically telling how the importance it is to start with premium crops and healthy soils, and how Woerner Farms produces the highest quality turf grass in the US. And Soil Kit is helping basically make the soil sample easy, fast, and using some really great technology to combine that science. Dad, real quick before we continue, you want to talk about logistics of where your farms are right now? You want to just kind of list out your farms and your stores?
Yes, we have one farm that's in Colorado. It's northeast of Denver, in a little town called Roggen. And in town in Brighton, which is a really up and coming suburb of Denver, we have an outlet there that we distribute to all of our landscapers, and for a point of entry for all of our turf grass going into the Denver area. Another farm here is in Baldwin County, where we've always been born and raised. And between Mobile and Pensacola, down in the Monster area, we have a tract of land down there where a lot of our St. Augustines and Palisade Zoysias are grown, some centipede. Then we have a farm north of Panama City in a little town called Clarksville, or you may know it as Bluntstown. Near that area on Highway 20, we have about 800 acres of turf grass there on some real sandy soil. And last year we added another farm in Bronson, Florida. It's west of Gainesville. We also have a farm, a joint venture in Hawaii on the island of Oahu. We actually can stand on the farm and see Pearl Harbor from it. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And we have a real small operation on the big island of Hawaii over on Kona, where the volcano and all that is. It's the dry side of the island, and there's a lot of resorts and golf courses there. And so that is a joint venture with 4 other partners. So there were the locations that we have now. We have a store in Pensacola, one in Gulfport, Mississippi, and one in Birmingham, Alabama. We have one in for Walton, and we just purchased some land in Panama City that we be putting in well, I think we just signed a contract with a general contractor to come in there and start building out the land so we can do distribution there.
Okay, Dad, if you had to look company-wide, what is your matrix of landscape pros to to homeowners? What is kind of your percentage breakdown right now? I know it kind of varies according to area, but company-wide.
I would think that our landscapers are 65% of all of our sales. They're the people that do it year round. They're the people that keep us in business. They're the people that we kind of introduce a lot of our new products through, so we can help improve their operations. And what we found is everything in life, whether it be technology or even turf grass, it begins to commoditize. And so what we try to do is find out really what's the up and coming varieties that are more bug resistant, more drought tolerant, more that we can provide that has a higher quality product and less loss to the landscaper or to the farm. Sometimes some varieties just don't do well and they fall apart a lot. So, you know, a true variety of grass comes around about once every 20 years. And today, there's an incredible amount of research going on now with a bunch of universities. They call it NTEP trials, NTEP. And they go in there and classify thousands of research plots of different varieties, and they send them all over the United States, especially in the southeast United States, from Texas and North Carolina. And these ag universities will go in there and they'll grade each variety, and each university is producing that new stolen or that new variety. They'll put samples in all the different regions. And so then at the end of the year, it's over about a 5-year period, and they're grading them, each variety all the way through. And at the end of 5 years is when they start beginning to release those varieties. Only 1 or 2% of all, not even that much, maybe 0.5% of all the research actually comes out and makes it to the farm. And then when it hits the farm, it's about a 80% chance that it'll really work. And then there's always a chance that a new variety surprises everybody after it's been planted and grown on the farm, and all of a sudden things don't work. But then every now and then a real breakthrough comes along, and right now the research in the university systems now is really starting to make some real breakthroughs on varieties of grass.
All right, sounds good, Dad. Thanks. Yeah, I actually got to see some of that stuff at Texas A&M and all the plots when I was out in Dallas. But here's a quick slide on Dad, and this one is Clarksville Farm, right, Dad? And that sun is rising over some Palestine Zoysia, right?
Yeah, they sent a picture the other day with some jets out there flying and had an angel up there in the middle of the circle. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But yes, that's in our Clarksville Farm.
Yep. So which leads us to kind of discussing from a landscaper's point of view. As you know, I've got kind of 3 main varieties. You know, we do have the centipede, but you kind of focus on sort of that premier turf grass that is sort of like the Zoysias and the St. Augustine and so forth. Now, let's talk about Palestine Zoysia, Dad. Why did you choose that one of all of them? I went out there and saw it at Texas A&M, but what drew you to Palestine Zoysia?
We knew that when the housing crash happened in 2008, 9, and 10, we decided at that time, you know what, now's a great time to reboot, really rethink everything and find out where is this industry going, begin to lay out some criteria, what we're looking for. And then we went on the hunt for about 5 years and we tried everything, and we went to Texas, and Texas has a huge amount. If you'll remember, in Texas, at one point, it was mostly all St. Augustine down there. They had Raleigh and Common St. Augustine, but 40, 50,000 acres of St. Augustine over there began to convert. And we brought Palisades out of Texas and Tennessee, wherever we could find a registered, certified, high quality grass, and began to plant it. And since then, we've been really ramping it up. And so is Texas. Texas is a drier climate and a wet climate. It has a little bit of everything that we have. And Palisades just has a proven track record of two decades, almost and a half now, of real success. And so we went to planting that, and we have been planting a lot of it in the last 5 years now. We found this to be one of our really rising stars, one of those varieties you get maybe once every 20 or 30 years that really begin to help. It has to help everybody, the farmer, the grower. It has to help the landscaper for all the issues they're going to encounter. And the homeowner wants something that's endurable, that's going to be there for a while. And the Palestine Zoysia has fit the bill, and we are extremely excited about it.
All right, great, Dad. We got one Q&A, but I'm going to get Joe to get that for me. It's in the background, so we've already had a question about this. And let's move on to the next one. I'll come back on the question about what that is. Let's head on to the next one. The next one is Classic St. Augustine.
Yes. You know, and sometimes in life, in adversity and difficulty, major things happen. If many of you remember that if you was living here in South Alabama or Northwest Florida or Louisiana, back in the mid 1980s, there was a lot of Raleigh and Florham and a lot of different St. Augustines. And we had 2 winters that it got down to 3 to 5 degrees. And needless to say, we got wiped out. And I went home that evening, and there was a St. Augustine in our yard. My wife and I, we were living in a little mobile home at the time. And anyway, that St. Augustine, we were able to trace it back about 70 or 80 years that our family had been moving it from one lawn to the next. And I went out there that evening, and I dug down in it, and not one nodule was froze. And I said, oh my, we got to try this. So we planted that out. And over the last 30 years, at one point, Classic St. Augustine became 10% of all the St. Augustine in the whole state of Florida. And when you consider what the Florham market was and the Palmetto market was, 10% of a variety. And, you know, that variety has been here over 100 years. And what we've done is we trademarked it and we promoted it. And it has been a very successful St. Augustine for actually all the way up to Birmingham, Alabama. It'll do just fine up there in the cold.
So I have to tell you, Dad, Classic St. Augustine has always been probably, up until a year and a half ago, my favorite grass. I'm kind of one of those that when you take one of the Bermudas or the Zoysias and you put them in the wintertime, it seems to get spiky. And so St. Augustine was one that my kids could run out. It was wide, it's so comfy. But I tell you, one thing I couldn't stand about St. Augustine was the fact that if there was an insect around, if there was a disease around, it was coming for St. Augustine every time. So it was kind of more of one of those high. I loved it, but I knew I had to kind of baby it a little more than other grass varieties. But now going back to the previous slide,
I think, Christina, your microphone is messing up.
Palisades gives me that little fix.
I'm sorry, Christina, your microphone is messing up.
Can you hear me?
Let me just tell you a little bit about, there's no perfect grass. The Classic St. Augustine, we had put it up against Raleigh, and that was 30 years ago. And chinch bugs, when it went after Raleigh, it went after the entire field. It would wipe the entire field out. And we knew it wasn't going to work for the homeowners and nobody, because it wasn't working for us, it's not going to work for them. Classic St. Augustine will get chinch bugs in certain little circles and stuff. It won't typically wipe out the whole lawn, but it does. It is more tolerant than others. Now, this is where the universities are really doing a lot of research right now, and they're trying to find solutions to it. And that's a big issue. Brown patch and chinch bugs is something that's very common to St. Augustine. And floor tam, which was created by Texas A&M 50 years ago, is still probably the most resistant to brown patch, but it's not cold tolerant for up here.
Okay, can you hear me now, Dad?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Oh my gosh, I just needed to mute myself and come back in, that's all.
Oh.
I think we're probably crashing the Wi-Fi here at the office, if I had to guess. It was two Woerners on a webinar trying to be co-hosts together, and it became competitive, and you just apparently closed me out of the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But I was kind of going in, did you hear my story about how I loved Classic until I had Palisades in my yard?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's just
right.
it was that wide blade concept. I had to have the wide blade. Now I'll tell you this, I have now gone through my second winter, and I've gone through a full summer down here with my Palisade last summer. I had a light fungus one time, very light, but beforehand I would have had a raging fungus in my St. Augustine. So far, I was a classic St. Augustine fan up until last year, and then I converted to Palisades. And so it just really gives me that Zoysia fine premium. And, St. Augustine tends to kind of, I don't know if you can see me, but it tends to kind of like do this, whereas the Zoysia gives me that straight up, which is a nice, I like that stand straight that they have on the Zoysia. So I have officially been converted. I never thought I'd say this, but I have officially been converted to a Zoysia fan. Now, we're about to talk about what I consider in the landscape industry as probably one of the highest performers I have seen. I've been studying all the Kentucky stuff that they put out about Tiff Tuff. We'll move to Tiff Tuff. I have seen the research and development on it. I'm highly impressed with the temperatures that this grass has been able to sustain, the shade, the hours of shade that Tiff Tuff's been able, but I still can't convert to that thin blade. But Dad, take it over. Tell us about Tiff Tuff and what you know about it.
Well, it's like I said, it's about every 20 to 40 years a new variety comes out, and 419 came out and really replaced the 328s and some other ones and stuff. 419 has been their standard barrier for 50 years, and they've come out with Tiff Sport, Tiff 2, all kinds of different varieties of Bermuda, and nothing has been as transformative as Tiff Tuff. And Tiff Tuff truly is a variety of Bermuda that's extremely aggressive, and it's much more drought tolerant than 419. It can take a lot less water. They're saying 38%. It can handle more shade, but remember, this is a Bermuda, and all Bermudas like a lot of sun, but this one would handle more shade than your 419. But this is one variety of Bermuda that's going to be here a long time. And if you want to do a project with it, you will not be disappointed with it, because it's going to outperform anything that I am aware of in the industry today in the Bermuda range.
Well, I just don't know if I can convert to the fine blade, but I do agree with you. The performance of Tiff Tuff is phenomenal. It is great. I can't convert to a Bermuda lawn. I can't do it yet. So I guess it's more so, for the sports field, and that kind of, because, classic St. Augustine, as we said in the previous one, is not really for that wear and tear. This one's more of like sports fields, municipalities, high traffic areas.
The panhandle of Florida and all the sand down there, you will find now that the commercial builders, home builders and stuff, are switching to Tiff Tuff because they don't have to put sprinkler systems in near as much. It's a lower maintenance, and it's extremely durable. It's competitive, and that I think there is a real place in the residential. We have sat down and spoken, had some conversation with some major home builders now about introducing this grass for the homeowner, because there's so many people who are using centipede, And if you go into an older subdivision, if it's 5 years old or 7, you'll see lawns already dying back. This Bermuda is going to be there much longer, and it'll have a very fast recovery rate. Even if it has some problems, you can put some fertilizer out on it, and this stuff is going to come raging back.
So I'll ask you this then, Dad, and we've got one question. I'll take it after this question. I'm going to ask my question first. If you had to put, as a landscape professional, if you had to choose TIF-Tuff or Palisade as your #1 go-to, which one would you choose?
It depends on what it's being used for. If it's a nice residential house with sprinkler irrigation and all that, I would use Palestine Zoysia. But if I was in a more difficult area, or a hunting camp, or a house that doesn't have irrigation, I would absolutely consider TIF-Tuff. It's the #1 seller in Atlanta, and that's going to the residential homes. I mean, it has taken over Atlanta. About 3 years ago, they had a real bad drought, and the TIF-Tuff was next to the 419, and that the home builders were blown away at how beautiful it looked without water. And I'm telling you, there was a massive switching of varieties, and the people that had TIF-Tuff growing, they got the first phone. I mean, they had the demand.
Well, I'm not converted quite yet, but I do agree.
You don't live in Atlanta or Birmingham. It's very common. I mean,
but I agree with you. I agree with you. I used to live in Birmingham, and I can remember walking through subdivisions, and in the wintertime, it would go really, really brown. And TIF-Tuff does keep a longer green season. And so I got to give it a lot of credit, not only the drought, I do have to give it credit that it keeps the greener longer. And so it doesn't, I try to explain, you're less likely to kind of do that overseed project just because you do get a longer green cycle out of this one. But the question that we have for you right now, Dad, is, as long as you've been doing this in all your years, #1, are you still learning? And then #2, share with us something that you've just learned that just kind of catches you off guard. I'm checking the questions on the other computer. Are you still learning? And if so, what kind of stuff really catches you off guard and surprises you?
Well, I think when a person quits learning, they probably need to get out of an industry, because right now the industry is in a transformation such as I've never seen in my 50 years of farming. I just believe there's incredible technology breakthroughs. And what's really exciting about what's going on is robotics. And these lawns, your homeowners can have a little robotic mower, and they're coming out with it soon, and there is already a few. And it'll go out there and mow your lawn every year, every day. And you'll never have thatch, because you're always mowing, and it'll go out there and it'll back up into a little slot. And before long, the next day, it'll do it again. These are the things that are just, now we actually are looking at mowers, that are large mower, 20, 30-foot mowers that are all robotic and GPS driven. It'll come in the morning, you have to mow it all night, and you'll fuel it up, grease it up, and program the next field it goes to. And if it switches varieties, it'll change the height, and it'll go mow. And that evening it comes in, you fuel it up again. And so, wow, all I can tell you is I wish I was 35 years old and could see the transformation that you're going to get to witness.
Well, all right, Dad. So we only have a few more minutes left. I like to keep the webinar short, but I am going to talk a little bit about some of the questions we talked about at the beginning. What is your favorite? Okay, so you got to answer. Which one's your favorite? That was one of our bullet points.
Palisades or Classic, but Palisades is the one I like. Or actually, Emerald Zoysia. It's been out there for 50 years. Choices. Do you know the Emerald Zoysia came in TEP trials from 2014 to 17? They gave it a number. Do you know it was the #1 Zoysia? And it's been out there for 50 years. And we've brought in some from Texas that was registered. We fumigated the land and planted it, and it is phenomenal. And in about a year from now, we'll be introducing that new crop coming on. We have some emerald fields, but we got some now coming. It is unbelievable. But Palisades right now, if I had to choose, it'd be Palisades.
Okay. All right. Well, Let's go on to the next one, because remember, Dad, you've got a 2 o'clock webinar with homeowners, and there's quite a few of them waiting on you. So this is just your Training Wheels Landscaper Pro seminar. Okay, so just a couple things on Soil Kit. We also offer a program for the landscapers. I know Bryant is on the phone. Jubilee Scapes, I know that they use this program, and I appreciate you attending today. Thank you, Brian. And basically what Soil Kit is it's fully automated lab-based soil test kit and technology platform. And we provide customers with an easy to use soil collection and registration process. You can use Soil Kit to test lawn, garden, problem area, or wildlife plot. The easy to understand results include specific product and quantity recommendations for nutrient and soil amendments aligned to the products that can be used by the landscaper. So what it does, I don't know, we've actually released 3 new things. We now test for pH, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, manganese, iron, copper, boron. But now on the front-facing report, we do buffer pH, CEC, and we're now started doing organic matter. So off to the right here, you will see the contractor pack, which is perfect for the landscaper. It's 12 of them, includes the shipping, includes the test, and the brown bag. It includes, of course, the results, the product selections, and instructions. As well as, I have to throw this in for landscapers, we do a great job in the wildlife category too, should you have some fun on the weekends. And we have a great marketing tool for new customer acquisition. And we also offer things for municipalities. Okay, so on the unactive kits, it can be customized. We can do little door hangers. We can help you with social media. And basically what it is the unactive kit is $1, and you can purchase 1,000 of them. That's the minimum quantity. And when they activate, it's $29.95. How can that be used? Your landscaper pulls up at a door to Jane Doe's house. She doesn't have the left and you don't have the right. So you go put one of those dollar kits to the left and the dollar kit to the right. And if the left house or the right house activates that kit, we will give you all the information. We will basically say, this is Jane Doe, and this is John Doe, and here are all their information. Here's their results. And then we basically charge you $29.95. So we have that program for new customer acquisition. One thing I really want to stress is just how much technology we have in this. I was actually working with the city of Orange Beach, and he was out there and he was in the sun, he was with a tablet and having all kinds of trouble. Well, we just push a button and then you can scan it and offer a lot of autofill. It geolocates you right where you are. Just want to kind of share with that. Let's see if we can get this to work, since we're having a little bit internet trouble, just to kind of show you how this program works. See if we can get this video. It's pretty self-explanatory. Can everybody hear it pretty well?
While some soil kit packages come with a trowel, all soil kits come with a sample bag, prepaid mailing envelope, customer care card, and instructions. Whether you obtain your soil kit from an online source or one of our retailers or landscape partners, testing always starts with registration, which connects your soil sample and test results to you and your email address. To register, visit soilkit.com/register. Enter your email address and name and the kit ID found on your sample bag. You can also scan the QR code using your mobile device. Next, identify your sample location by entering your address or using our geolocation technology. You can add a description such as front yard or backwoods food plot when submitting multiple samples. Next, enter the size in square feet of the area your soil sample represents, so we can accurately calculate fertilizer application rates. If you aren't sure, use our satellite-guided sizing tool. In most cases, we recommend one kit for every 10,000 square feet. After that, choose the type of crop or grass you are cultivating and confirm your registration. Now it's time to take your soil sample. Be sure to use a stainless steel or plastic trowel to avoid metal contamination. If your soil has been recently fertilized, you'll need to wait for 2 weeks before sampling. In choosing 4 sample locations, try to evenly distribute them across the sample area and avoid wet spots. Collect 2 scoops of soil at each location, 2 to 4 inches from the soil surface. Ensure the dirt has reached close to, but not beyond the fill line. Seal the sample bag by bending the tabs. We recommend you write your name on the sample bag. Then put your sample bag into the prepaid mailing envelope. Seal the envelope and send. Be sure to keep your customer care card, as it includes your kit ID number for reference. Within 36 hours of receipt, our certified lab team will calculate your soil amendment needs and send you an email with a link to your test results. The View My Results link will take you to soilkit.com, where you can log in to your dashboard. If you haven't already created an account, the system will prompt you to create one. If you have multiple tests, you will see a list of them. Click on the test results you are interested in. At the top of the results page, you'll find details about the partner who provided your soil kit. If you purchased online, you'll find a link to one of our online fertilizer partners. Below that will be easy to understand fertilizer recommendations, calculated for you based on your results, the sample area size, and the products available from the partner from whom you obtained soil kit. You'll also find simple application instructions, followed by detailed lab information showing you nutrient level versus ideal levels for the crop or grass type you are cultivating. At the bottom of the report, you may also find a marketing message from your retailer or landscaper, or from one of our online partners. Now you can share your results with your landscaper or local lawn and garden center to obtain the amendments recommended. If you purchased your soil kit online, simply click through the product recommendations and purchase your amendments online. Remember, healthy soil starts with a lab-based soil test.
All right. And since I have Bryant on this call, he was my great landscaper celebrity. One of his guys were cutting the lawn. And if we've got a few minutes, let's see. Let's play Bryant's video also. We've got 1 minute.
I'm Bryant Traylor with Jubilee Skate. We like the soil kit because hard for us to tell which clients are really wanting to know what lawn service they want to sign up for. And if they take that first step by taking the soil kit that's sent to them or hung on their door, they can go and register the kit themselves. They can do their own soil test. They drop it in their mailbox, and the results come to us in a meaningful way for us that we can go meet with the client and make a recommendation to them for a fertility program that would suit their lawn. When we get the results from soil kit, they come back to us in an abbreviated version of what we're accustomed to seeing with all the nutrient levels. Pretty much any homeowner can look at and tell what their lawn needs or what it's lacking. And it allows us to be able to take the result to the customer, and we can go over the results with them. We've been using soil kit since the spring of this year, and I don't think we'll ever do another soil test without using the soil kit.
Thanks, Bryant, for being my celebrity on that video. It turned out
Bryant
great.
Traylor with Jubilee Skate.
And it was a good one. Thanks. And just to kind of break it down for everybody, as you can see on the right, those are kind of your standard lab-based. They're very confusing. Now, to a landscape professional, a little bit more, you can understand that. But what happens is we take all of that result and distill it exactly down to your customer. And we can even align it to the to exactly the guaranteed analysis that you use. So let's say that we have a landscaper who is in Georgia and they use 103. I'm exaggerating, but 103. We can actually take the results and align those to help try to pair with it, and then alert you when something is off. If you need more than what you tried to use, does it need lime? Is there a micronutrient issue? Is there an iron issue? And then, but most importantly, driving that branding back to the landscaper. And let's see, we've got a few more minutes and we've got one question. Okay, so I want to make sure we wrap up by 1:45, but we have one other question. Can this testing program lower my cost? Well, absolutely, because I can only imagine if a homeowner is having problem after problem after problem that you're sending a tech out there and that you keep kind of throwing something at the situation, knowing that this may be a pH issue. Let's say this is a potassium issue, phosphorus issue. You're constantly sending that tech out. You got to think of the value of that technician going out over and over and over again and using materials that might not be what the problem is. You get right to the solution with this test. And for the landscape contractors, this Pro Pack, we sell it at a very economical price. Let's see if I can look it up. I think I had everything pulled up here. You can go online to our website right now. We did an all new website, which is super exciting. Can you guys still see my screen? Perfect. I'll show you real quick. Let me see. I'm just now beginning to see some of the questions. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let's go to soilkit.com. We just launched this new website last week, and we have a contractor pack online currently that we sell that is perfect for the Pro Pack. We call it Soil Kit Pro Pack, $227.40. And this offers 12 of them and what's inside all right here. And it includes all the details for that. We allow for co-branding in the results, as well as we have inactive kits. So just so you know, visit soilkit.com and you can see more there, as well as, before I let you guys go, visit Woerner.com, WOERNER.com, and you can check out the different turf grass varieties that Dad and Woerner Farm services, and the classic Palisades and the Tiff Tuffs. You can see all of the different, basically the different content about those turf grasses. And before we go, Dad, I think you did pretty well. I have to say, if I had to change anything on our first It's All Relative webinar, I'm going to have to go find some better Wi-Fi. And I'm really glad we decided to do this training wheel with the landscape professionals first, before we go talk to a bunch of homeowners who are asking a bunch of questions. So you did a great job, Dad. I'm proud of you.
Let me make one more statement to them. One of the things that all of our pros need to know is just recently, fertilizer, with fuel going up every day, the fertilizer cost, like DAP, your phosphate, it's tripled in cost in the last few months. And these soil samples are going to get really critical on controlling exactly what you put out, so you're not putting excess cost in your fertilizers. So the more fertility and chemicals and herbicides are all tied to fuel. And the research I've been doing for the last 2 years, that DAP or phosphate worldwide is getting shorter and shorter and harder to get, more expensive. So you really need to consider your soil testing early and get your fertilizer bought. If it's on the shelves now, it's probably at a lower price than when they restock it. It's going to hit high. So I just want to throw that out to everybody to make sure you consider that as your spring is about to hit.
Well, Dad, I'm glad you added that, because one of the question is, what are some things that I should be doing right now to ensure my success? And that is doing a soil sample so that you control the cost of things such as phosphorus. And you're right, Dad, there is a national, actually global shortage for that. So very good point, Dad, and I appreciate it. Thank you all for attending today. And I know you're all very busy. So we are going to get right to our kick off our homeowner webinar here at 2, but we'll also be sending out this recording after, and also a poll to let us know how we did. And yes, we already know that we have a little Wi-Fi issues. And Dad, you need to quit squeaking around in your chair when you move, or put some WD-40 on.
Just make sure that they mark on the soil kit what crop code they're using, what your lawn is. So if it's centipede or St. Aug, they really need to make sure that's identified.
Dad, it's in the registration process. You don't even have to mark the bag anymore.
I understand, but I gotta get reminded 2 or 3 times. My wife's pretty good at it.
Sounds like you haven't done your annual soil sample in a while, so I'll have to get you to do your soil sample, because it's a drastically different process. But thanks, guys. We all appreciate you attending, and we look forward to further discussions. Thanks. Have a great year.